Welcome to Meetings in Math. Today we're going to be talking about adding integers and how can I represent adding integers on a number line. So let's get started. You're going to need a pen and a pencil, your Jaguar Jaws starting on page 6. It'll say adding integers and how can I represent adding integers on a number line. All right, so let's get started on this. We're going to be looking at warmer and colder temperatures to help us understand this. And at the top, you'll see a table, and then at the bottom, you'll see the number lines that go with it. So the first one we're going to look at is they're all going to start at 40 degrees, and then we're going to be doing something to it. We'll have a final degree, and then we're going to write the equation that goes along with it. So the first one you'll see, we went to 40 degrees, and then we added 10 degrees to get warmer. And then after you added 10 degrees, we got to 50 degrees. So 40 plus 10, because when you get warmer, it increases. So that's why it's positive. You end up at 10. So let's look at the next one. So again, we're going to go to 40 degrees. We're going to get 5 degrees colder. So if I was at 40 degrees and it got colder, then we're not going to get 45. We're going to go backwards by 5 degrees, and we're going to end up at 35. It's still positive, but it's at 35. So 40, and we're going to add a negative 5 to that, and we'll get 35 degrees because we went 5 negative. That's what we're doing today. So we're doing addition, so it's all going to be plus something. So let's look at the next one. 40 degrees, again. And 30 degrees colder. So go ahead and pause it and see if you can get that arrow going in the right direction. 30 degrees colder. So 5, so there's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30s. But we have to get colder, so we have to go backwards, and we end up at a positive 10. Minus 30 to get colder. And where did we end up? We ended up at a positive 10. So when you start at 40, and you add to it a negative 30, you end up at a positive 10. Let's just make that 10. Let's not make it positive 10. Let's just make that 10. Looks a little cleaner. Good job. The next one. 40 degrees. And we're going to get colder again by 40 degrees. Where do we end up? We end up right at 0. 0 doesn't have positives or negatives that go with it. So when we have 40 degrees and we add to it a negative 40, we end up at 0. So now this next time, when we have 40 degrees, we're going to get colder again, but this time by 50 degrees. So we know the first one, that would be 40. 45, 50. I'm just counting by 5s. That's what I'm doing. 40, 45, 50. I end up at negative 10. So when I start at 40 and I add to it a negative 50, I end up at a negative 10. So in the addition equation, how do you know whether to add a positive or a negative number? So how did you know if you were going to add or subtract, basically? So in the addition equation, we added, when did we add positives? Well, it was only one time. What was happening to the temperature here? The temperature was getting warmer or increasing, and we added negative numbers when the temperature was decreasing or is getting colder. So go ahead and fill in your answer here. Okay, this time we're going to start with a negative number. So instead of starting with the positive 40, we're going to start with a negative 20 and then do whatever it says to do. So starting at the negative 20, so we have to go backwards. And this time we're going to get 30 degrees warmer. So if it's getting warmer, that's a plus 30. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So we get the 20, takes us to the 0, 25, 30, and we end up at 10. So that was a negative 20 plus 30 was 10. Okay, let's do the next one. Again, we had to go backwards to negative 20 and 35 degrees warmer. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So it was getting warmer. When we go to the right, it's positive. When we go to the left, it's negative. So that ended up at 15. So negative 20 plus 35 is equal to positive 15. I wonder how those two numbers actually relate to 15. Okay, negative 20. 15 degrees warmer. 5, 10, 15. I didn't get all the way up to the 20 this time, did I? So I end up at negative 5. Negative 20 plus 15. Again, how does a negative 20 and 15, even how does 20 and 15 relate to a 5? And then negative 20 and 15. And then it got 15 degrees colder, so negative 15. Oh, look at that. It has to get colder. That's going to be moving back to the left because it got colder. So 5, 10, 15. And that ended at negative 35. So negative 20 plus a negative 15 equals negative 35. I'm hoping you're starting to see a pattern here with how does 20 and 30 relate to 10, and 20 and 35 to 15, and 20 and 15 to 5, and 20 and 15 to 35. Hopefully you can start seeing a pattern. So we're going to save these problems until we get into class where we can talk about them a little bit more. That way we can have a little bit more of a discussion. But what I would like you to do now that we're done with all of these problems is I would like you to take the number lines and I'd like you to explore this idea and see if you can come up with a relationship between these numbers in 10, 20, 35, and 15. See if you can kind of look and work with that pattern a little bit. See what you can come up with. Spend about 5 minutes and see what you can come up with. All right? Thank you so much for joining us today on Meetings in Math, and I look forward to seeing you. Be kind to each other and do something kind for somebody today. All right, I will see you later. Goodbye.